we are anonymous. We are reaching help to you in such a direct manner because we have exhausted every other avenue. We would like to take few minutes of time to inform you about why is India poor? Let us get the inequality out of the way, first. Here is the chart of Gini coefficient, that is the international standard for measuring inequality. Low scores mean low inequalities. Except for the Scandinavian countries and Japan, very few others fare better than India in this score. Also, any fast-growing country cannot avoid some level of inequality. Growth will always be unequal. Even the Scandinavians were a lot unequal during their growing stages, couple of centuries ago. In short, our problem is not one of things shared unequally, but one of not enough things to share. We started worrying about inequality too early. Causes for our poor growth. First, after the World War II in 1940s, when most Asian countries got free, there were a group of countries that went on socialism and others leaned on a capitalistic path. The latter group included South Korea, Thailand, Japan, Singapore, Malaysia, etc., was able to significantly outperform the former, China, India, and Vietnam. China saw the folly of socialism by 1970s, and Deng significantly modernized started from 1970s. However, we were stuck to failed ideas of socialism way too long. See China's economic curve diverging from India's in late 1970s. Second, poor leadership. In 1947, unfortunately, Nehru became a premier of India, trouncing over more effective leaders such as Patel and Rajaji. Nehru had little clue of economics and little appreciation for entrepreneurship. He focused little on rural sector, agriculture, or primary education. He was trying to build himself a stature in international politics with the failed NAM initiative and really failed in the domestic arena. Third, poor direction on liberalization. Think about the top-paying jobs in India. They would be in technology, outsourcing services, finance, advertising, and other services where government has given freer room for entrepreneurs to operate. However, when it comes to mass employment generation sectors of agriculture or retail, we have kept our cards way too close and have not liberalized at all. We have chained our farmers to the same chains that middle class was bound to not too long ago. Fourth, India took on to democracy far too early. Most rich nations subverted democracy during their growth stages. Great Britain of Dickensian era, USA of Gilded Age, Japan during the Imperial era, Thailand, South Korea before 1979, Singapore during Lee Kuan Yew's era, all had autocrats or crony capitalism. We kind of put cart before the horse by our early adoption of democracy. We could still win, but we are into an uncharted territory. No other nation has built up their economy as fast in a perfect democracy. This point is controversial though. Fifth, finally, there are many Indians. The India of the middle and upper class is a different one. And we have been in poverty thought way too long, and it has not helped. It is true that Indians are quite intelligent. It is also true that intelligence and wealth are positively related. You will usually find more intelligent people making more money in whichever field they choose to be as compared to people who have less intelligence. However, it is also a bitter fact that India is a poor country despite so many intelligent Indians in India and abroad. Let us try to understand the reasons behind this dichotomy. Intelligence is the intellectual power using which you can achieve the objectives of your life. However, you can also use intelligence to destroy others, as evident from this Aesop's fable. Two neighbors came before Jupiter and prayed him to grant their heart's desire. Jupiter granted that each might have whatever he wished for himself, but only on condition that his neighbor had twice as much. The first man prayed to have a room full of gold. No sooner said than done, but all his joy was turned to grief when he found that his neighbor had 2 rooms full of the precious metal. Then came the turn of the second man, who could not bear to think that his neighbor had any joy at all. So he prayed that he might have one of his own eyes put out, by which means his companion would become totally blind. Intelligent people in India are not only concerned with our own development but also work very hard to see that the other people don't succeed. The best example is to observe how our elective MPs behave in parliaments. They are always fighting with each other and all their energies are spent to ensure that no business is transacted in parliaments. The net result of all their hard work and intelligence is hardly anything good. What is seen in Parliament by everyone is actually happening in many other institutions as well. Take the case of civil services. There are almost 50 Group A services in Government of India alone, wherein the Group A officers of around 20 services, IAS, IPS, IRS, IFS, IRTS etc., are selected by civil services examination alone. However, these services are working in silos, having tunnel vision, and they are busy in protecting their interest and if possible occupy others' turf. The officers of these services have hardly any good word to say about the other services and they are locked in perennial conflict with each other. Even within each department, like revenue, there are Group A, B, C and D service officials who are again fighting with each other. Even within each category, there are several subcategories and conflicts between them. Then within each subcategory, there are conflicts between general, SC, ST, OBC etc. You can find similar conflicts spread over almost every field of life in India. We are a divided society. There are conflicts all around which is frittering away all our energies. People are divided on the basis of castes, religion, language, region, culture, values, and prosperity. Indians can take pride of unity in diversity only when all of them work together for a common purpose. Otherwise, diversity becomes a source of conflict and drains all the vital energies of the nation. When intelligent people are working together for common purpose, we grow. However, when they work against each other, we destroy even what exists. In order to understand why intelligence is not sufficient for development, let us understand the process of magnetization. There are 2 types of materials in the world, magnetic and non-magnetic. The domains of the magnetic materials, like iron, can be compared with intelligent people. They are extremely powerful, individually, to attract magnetic substances. But they have no power, collectively, in its neutral state as their directions are against each other. Only when a magnetic substance is kept in a highly powerful magnetic field, all the domains are directed towards one direction and the material acquires the magnetic power. The individual atoms of non-magnetic materials, like aluminum, can be compared with unintelligent people. They have no power in neutral state and they are incapable of acquiring great magnetic power. If India remains poor despite so many intelligent people, It is because the intelligent people are not only interested in their interest but they are also causing harm to the country by getting engaged in activities like corruption, tax evasion, engaging in politics of divide and rule, creating communal hatred and promoting intolerance. How can India get rid of poverty? Let us find out the sum of numbers in two conditions. Sum A, 50 plus 60 plus 40 plus 70 equals 220. Sum B, 50-60 plus 40, 70 equals minus 40. We can easily see the destructive effect of negative energies that are directed towards each other. When people are working across purposes, the net result is not only zero but actually negative. The situation can change only when we have a strong leadership which can align the goals of all groups of people of India and able to cultivate in common values for all Indians. When this would happen, we shall start marching to our goal of removing poverty and ushering the era of growth and prosperity. We are anonymous, we are legion, we do not forgive, we do not forget. Expect us.